On the eve of the Black Death's silent sweep across Europe in 1347, you are a blacksmith, oblivious to the looming peril. Little do you know, the boy approaching with a bundle of herbs will become your only anchor and purpose as you navigate the chaos of this plague-stricken world. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we're going back 700 years to the Middle Ages for an immersive survival experience under the shadow of the Black Death. But don't worry, you won't be alone. You have a loyal friend by your side to help you weather the long nights and grow into a doomsday survivor. Now, let the church bells lull you into relaxation as we step into pre-storm Europe together. Marcus, look what I've got. His voice is bright and clear, like a mountain stream trickling over stones. You straighten your back, and as you turn, you crash into his smiling eyes. Isaac is half a head shorter than you, his flaxen curls neatly trimmed, and a pair of thin wooden-framed spectacles perched on his nose, a rare treasure his father brought back from the East. Dressed in a clean linen tunic, he clutches a brown paper package to his chest, hurries over, and gently elbows you in the ribs. Guess what it is? You set down your hammer and ruffle his hair, your fingertips brushing soft, sun-warmed curls. What else but herbs? Your father's merchant ship just returned. He must have sent you new scrolls or exotic plants. Isaac giggles, his shoulders shaking. He swats your hand away, then shoves the package into your arms in one smooth motion. This is the real deal this time, mint and chamomile from the East. They say it clears the mind and refreshes the spirit. Brew a cup when you're tired from hammering iron. You lower your head and untie the package, and a fresh, crisp scent wafts out, mingling with the unique ink and paper aroma that clings to Isaac. You two grew up together, you, the blacksmith's son. Spend your days with iron and furnace fire, your character steady and unyielding. He, the only son of a Jewish merchant, is well-read, versed in medicine, and has a gentle, thoughtful heart. The townsfolk always said you were an odd pair, but only you two knew that this friendship had long been woven into the very fabric of your beings. You once chased off the boys who mocked him for his Jewish identity. He once sat by your side all night when your father passed away, using herbs to ease the headaches brought on by your overwhelming grief. By the way, Isaac's smile fades, and he lowers his voice. My father says the merchants from Genoa brought bad news. You raise an eyebrow, set the herb package on the corner of your workbench, pick up the water jug, pour 2 cups of warm water, and hand him one. What news? Trouble on the eastern trade routes? Isaac takes the cup, his fingertips slightly cold. He takes a small sip before speaking slowly. It's a plague. The merchants say entire cities in the east are empty, with bodies piled like small hills. People develop fevers and black swellings and die within days. You snort, patting him on the shoulder, your palm feeling the outline of his shoulder blades. Don't listen to those merchants. They love to exaggerate just to drive up prices for their goods. Most of the townsfolk react the same way. The market remains bustling, filled with the cries of peddlers and the laughter of children. But Isaac frowns, his eyes heavy with worry. But he was as pale as a sheet when he said it. It didn't sound like a lie. Marcus, listen to me. Avoid contact with unmarked goods as much as possible. Wash your hands before every meal and keep the well at home covered. He grabs your wrist, his grip firm, his tone urgent. Promise me, you'll be careful. You look at his earnest face, though you don't take his words to heart. You nod anyway. All right, I promise. You turn your hand over and hold his. His fingers are slender, with the faint calluses of someone who spends hours reading scrolls, a stark contrast to your rough, thickly calloused palms. Sunlight filters through the blacksmith shop window, casting a warm glow over your clasped hands, as if gilding your friendship in gold. At that moment, you never could have imagined that this distant disaster would soon sweep across all of Europe, tearing your life and Isaac's apart completely. A few weeks later, on an early morning, you are forging a plow when a blood-curdling scream cuts through the air. It's the baker's wife next door. You drop your hammer and rush outside, only to find the baker lying dead on his doorstep. His face blue, a fist-sized black swelling on his neck. His wife collapses to the ground. Sobbing uncontrollably, a crowd gathers around, their murmurs and gasps blending into a chaotic roar. Isaac arrives soon after. He pushes through the crowd, squats down to examine the baker's body, his expression growing more and more grave. "It's the plague," he says, standing up, his voice trembling slightly, just like the merchants described. Panic erupts in the crowd. Some people turn and run. Others fall to their knees in prayer. The once bustling street falls completely silent. In the days that follow, death spreads at an alarming rate. You watch your familiar neighbors fall one by one. The farmer who haggled with you yesterday is hastily buried outside the town today. The shoemaker who came to your shop to repair his tools last night takes his last breath before dawn. The market shuts down entirely. Every household bolts their doors and windows, hanging crosses outside to signal that there is a sick person inside. You close the blacksmith shop's front door, leaving only a narrow crack open. Isaac arrives with his family. His father looks grim, his mother clutching his young sister tightly to her chest. "The town well is probably contaminated," Isaac's father says. "We have our own private water supply, but the town is in a panic. I'm afraid someone will come after us." You pat him on the shoulder, pointing to the cellar in the backyard of your shop. "It's safe there, big enough for your whole family to hide." You turn to Isaac, his eyes red, rimmed from seeing too much death. You wrap an arm around his shoulders, pulling him close. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." He stiffens for a moment, then relaxes, resting his head gently on your shoulder, his voice muffled. "Marcus, so many people are dying. Will we survive?" "Yes," you say, your voice firm and unwavering. "We will, I promise." You clear a corner of the shop for Isaac to set up a makeshift infirmary. Meanwhile, you reinforce the doors and windows with iron plates, forging several sharp axes to keep by the entrance in case of intruders. At night, you sit by the furnace fire together. Isaac tells you about Eastern medical scrolls. You teach him the tricks of forging iron. In the shadow of death, this friendship becomes your only source of comfort. The town doctor begins making house calls. He clings to the mainstream miasma theory, claiming the plague is caused by bad air, and cites Galen's theory of humoral imbalance, insisting that bloodletting is the only way to restore balance to the body. Your carpenter neighbor falls ill, and the doctor immediately starts bleeding him. Bright red blood drips down the edge of the bowl, but the neighbor's face grows paler and paler. You have to stop the bloodletting. Isaac rushes forward to intervene. "Marcus, look. His pulse is getting weaker by the minute. Bleeding him will only speed up his death." The doctor snarls, his face turning red with anger. "What do you know about medicine, you Jewish boy? This is Galen's theory. Are you daring to question authority?" "I've read in scrolls that diseases can spread through contact." Isaac pulls out a tattered old book, pointing to the words on the page. "We should avoid contact with the sick and keep clean, not bleed them dry." But the villagers choose to trust the authority, accusing Isaac of being a heretic. You step in front of Isaac, glaring coldly at the doctor. "He's only trying to save a life. If you can cure him, we'll listen to you. But right now, he's only getting worse." The doctor storms off, his face ashen with rage. Not long after, the carpenter takes his last breath. His family is overcome with grief. Yet they still blame Isaac's heretical ideas for delaying the treatment. Isaac sits in the corner, his head in his hands, racked with guilt. You walk over, sit down beside him, and pull his head into your arms, patting his back gently. This isn't your fault. They were too superstitious, and the doctor was too stubborn. The ineffectiveness of bloodletting plunges the people into deeper despair, and all sorts of absurd folk remedies start circulating. Some claim that pressing a live rooster's rear end against the swellings can suck out the poison. Others say smearing minced snake and pigeon meat on the lesions will cure the disease. Still, others mix feces, lily roots, and twigs into a paste to apply to the infected areas. You once helped the villagers forge iron frames to hold the roosters in place, watching them press the birds' rears against the patient's swellings, waiting in vain for a miracle. In the end, all they could do was face death. A deep sadness settles in your heart. Meanwhile, Isaac secretly brews herbal decoctions for mild cases. They don't cure the plague, but they ease the patient's suffering. Once, a villager was beaten by others for refusing bloodletting. Isaac rushed to protect him and was injured in the process. When you see the black and blue bruises covering Isaac's arm, anger surges through you. You grab your hammer, ready to charge into the fray, but Isaac stops you. Don't go. He shakes his head. Arguing with them now will only bring more trouble. You look at his wounds with a heavy heart, cleaning them with clean water and bandaging them with fresh cloth strips. Don't be so reckless again. I'll protect you. He looks at you, his eyes glistening with tears, and throws his arms around you. Thank you, Marcus. You can feel his body trembling, so you tighten your embrace, holding him close. The furnace fire warms your bodies, but it cannot dispel the chill in your hearts. Soon after, a plague doctor arrives in town. He wears a waxed leather robe, a tall top hat, and thick gloves. But his most striking feature is the bird-shaped mask on his face, stuffed with fragrant herbs. He seeks you out, asking you to forge him an iron-tipped cane, something to lift patients' clothing without getting too close. You forge the cane as he requests, with Isaac standing beside you, carefully observing the doctor's gear. His leather robe is thick enough to block droplets and bodily fluids. Isaac whispers to you. The herbs in the mask are probably useless, but the robe and cane will actually help with isolation. You nod, handing the finished cane to the doctor. He takes it, his voice hoarse. Thank you. This will help me ward off the miasma. You and Isaac exchange a glance, choosing not to point out his misunderstanding. After that, you often see the doctor wandering the streets, counting the dead and occasionally diagnosing patients, though his treatments rarely work. Once, you see him being surrounded by a mob of desperate villagers. You rush forward immediately, holding your hammer up to shield him, while Isaac stands beside you with a wooden staff. He's doing his best. You roar. If you drive him away, no one will be left to help. The villagers stare at your hammer and slowly disperse. The doctor looks at you gratefully. Thank you. I'm not some great physician. I'm just trying to make a living in these dark times. You pat him on the shoulder. Staying here is brave enough. Later, you and Isaac secretly reinforce the wax coating on his leather robe, hoping to give him an extra layer of protection. In this death-shrouded town, even a doctor with limited skills is a flicker of hope. As medical treatments fail, people turn to religion for answers, believing the plague is God's punishment for human sin. Every day, crowds gather in the church to pray and repent. Your mother joins them, coming to the blacksmith shop to beg you to abandon your trade and pray for redemption with her. Mother, prayer won't save anyone, you say, looking at her haggard face, your heart filled with helplessness. I can protect Isaac's family here and forge tools for those who need them. Your mother sighs and leaves, shaking her head. Isaac looks at you and says softly, Perhaps they're just looking for something to hold on to. You nod, ruffling his hair. But faith can't fill our bellies, and it can't stop death. At the same time, a conspiracy theory spreads through the town. The plague is caused by deliberate poisoning of the wells, and the blame quickly falls on the Jewish community. Isaac's family becomes the target of the mob. People gather outside the cellar where they're hiding, shouting insults and throwing stones. Marcus, what do we do? Isaac's mother asks, her voice trembling as she holds his sister. You tighten your grip on your hammer, your eyes determined. I'm here. No one will hurt you. That night, you tell Isaac's family to stay hidden in the cellar while you guard the blacksmith shop door. Isaac refuses to let you face the danger alone, insisting on keeping watch with you. You sit side by side on the steps outside the door, the moon casting a cold, silvery glow over you. Do you remember when we were kids? Isaac says suddenly. We were fishing by the river, and you fell in. I had to pull you out, you smile, patting him on the thigh. Of course I remember. You teased me for not knowing how to swim, then fell in the next day yourself. You share a laugh, momentarily forgetting the danger that surrounds you. But your laughter is cut short by the sound of loud, chaotic footsteps. A mob of people, holding torches and clubs, marches toward the blacksmith shop. They're hiding in there. The Jews are in there. The leader is the town tavern keeper. Deep in debt, he has long coveted Isaac's father's wealth. Marcus Hyde. Isaac grabs your arm, trying to pull you into the shop, but you push him away, gripping your hammer tightly. I won't let anything happen to you. You charge forward, blocking the tavern keeper's club with your hammer. The impact sends a sharp ear-splitting clang through the air. You're all crazy. You roar, the Jews didn't cause this plague. You're just after their money. But the enraged mob refuses to listen. Swarming toward you, Isaac grabs an iron bar, standing shoulder to shoulder with you in the fight. A wooden club hits your arm, searing pain shooting through you. Isaac's forehead is split open, blood streaming down his cheeks. Just as you're about to be overwhelmed, Isaac's father bursts out of the cellar, wielding a curved sword, and shouts at the top of his lungs, "Leave my family and friends alone." His sudden appearance distracts the mob. You seize the opportunity, grab Isaac, and retreat into the shop, slamming the door shut and bracing it with an iron plate. The mob pounds on the door and shouts insults until dawn, when they finally disperse. You look at the wound on Isaac's forehead, cleaning it gently with water and bandaging it up. Don't be so reckless again, okay? He nods, taking your hand. His palm is soaked with sweat. We're friends. I couldn't let you fight alone. The attack makes it clear that the town is no longer safe. Isaac hears from a fleeing Jewish merchant that Pope Clement V has issued a papal bull condemning the persecution of Jews and refuting the poisoning allegations. But the Holy Roman Emperor Charles IV's edict says the opposite. He offers economic incentives to local lords to turn a blind eye to the mob violence. We have to leave here, Isaac's father says. We'll go to the papal territories. It might be safer there. You immediately offer to go with them. I'll come with you. We can look out for each other on the road. Isaac looks at you, his eyes filled with gratitude, and hugs you tightly. Thank you, Marcus. I'll stay with you no matter where we go. The journey is fraught with danger. You leave the town under the cover of night, carrying only a small amount of money and supplies. Along the way, you pass countless villages destroyed by the plague. Bodies line the roads, and the air reeks of decay. Your money runs out quickly, forcing you to survive on wild berries and game. Isaac's sister often cries from malnutrition, so you give her your meager rations, going hungry yourself. Aunts, you encounter a group of fellow refugees who try to steal your last remaining food. You pull out your hammer, putting an end to the chaos. We're all running from the same disaster, you say firmly. We should help each other, not fight among ourselves. Isaac takes out the herbs he's carrying, bandaging the wounds of an injured elderly man. The refugees are moved by your kindness, stopping their squabbling and sharing their own food with you instead. But misfortune still finds you. On a cold, rainy day, Isaac suddenly develops a high fever, small black swellings appearing on his body. It's the plague. Isaac's mother cries out in despair. Your heart drops. You immediately help Isaac into an abandoned cottage, laying him down on the floor. Don't be afraid, you say, taking his burning hand in yours. You taught me, keep clean, drink safe water. I'll cure you, I promise. Following Isaac's earlier instructions, you go to the nearby river to fetch clean water and gather the herbs he mentioned. You brew the herbal decoction in an iron pot, feeding it to him carefully, and place a wet cloth on his forehead to bring down his fever. That night, you sit by his bed, refusing to sleep, changing the cloth and giving him water every few hours. Isaac drifts in and out of consciousness. When he's awake, he clings to your hand, his voice weak. Marcus, don't leave me. You always squeeze his hand tightly, whispering, I'm right here. After several days like this, Isaac's fever finally breaks, and the black swellings begin to fade. When he regains full consciousness, he looks at your bloodshot eyes and haggard face, tears streaming down his cheeks. Marcus, you've lost so much weight. You smile, wiping away his tears with your fingertips. His skin is cool to the touch. The only thing that matters is that you're okay. He throws his arms around you, burying his face in your chest, his voice choked with sobs. I would have died without you. You pat his back gently, feeling the warmth of his body. Your heart filled with relief. You've survived another ordeal. After months of fleeing, the plague finally subsides, and you return to your town. What you see takes your breath away. Weeds grow through the cracks in the streets. Many houses lie in ruins, and your once familiar home has become a ghost town. You clean up the damaged blacksmith shop and reopen it for business, with the plague having wiped out a large portion of the workforce. Healthy laborers are in high demand. You have more blacksmithing work than you can handle, and nobles are forced to raise wages to hire you. For the first time, you have the power to negotiate, no longer at the mercy of exploitation. Isaac organizes his medical notes from the plague, sharing hygiene knowledge with the people around him, teaching them to wash their hands before meals and keep their homes clean. The survivors' mental states could not be more different. Some choose to punish themselves through asceticism, praying and fasting in the church every day. Others indulge in drinking and gambling, as if trying to make up for the time they lost. You occasionally attend meetings with other craftsmen, discussing ways to raise wages and improve working conditions. Isaac often visits the cemetery outside town, praying for his fallen people. One day, you return from a craftsman's meeting to find Isaac sitting outside the blacksmith shop, his eyes empty and distant. You walk over, sit down beside him, and drape an arm over his shoulders. What are you thinking about? He turns to look at you. I'm wondering what this plague really changed. Some people have become more devout, but human greed and prejudice, they don't seem to have gone away at all. You fall silent for a moment, then say, At least we're alive, at least we have each other. You take his hand in yours, and we can try to change some things. In 1351, the English government enacts the Statute of Laborers, freezing wage levels and banning workers from demanding higher pay. The law sparks outrage among craftsmen, and you become one of the leaders of the protest. You organize everyone to secretly agree on a unified wage and stage a work slowdown to voice your resistance. Isaac supports you behind the scenes. He helps you analyze the law's flaws, writes petitions on your behalf, and contacts craftsmen from other towns to form a united front of protest. The nobles are furious at your actions, sending men to warn you that they will shut down your shop or even arrest you if you continue your resistance. One day, while you are working in the shop, the Lord's soldiers burst in and drag you away by force. Isaac sees what's happening and chases after them, but the soldiers block his path. Marcus, he shouts your name. His eyes filled with panic. You turn to look at him one last time, yelling, "Don't worry, I'll be fine." You are thrown into the Lord's castle dungeon, where the Lord threatens to execute you if you don't give up your resistance, but you refuse to back down. We earn our living with our own hands. What's wrong with asking for a fair wage? Enraged, the Lord locks you in a dark, damp cell. Isaac refuses to give up. He travels from town to town, rallying other craftsmen to go on strike, and leads the townsfolk in a petition to the Lord, armed with the document he wrote. He even risks his life to sneak near the castle, throwing stones at your cell window to update you on the outside world. Marcus, everyone is supporting you. You have to hold on. Through the window, you see his haggard face, your heart swelling with gratitude. Thank you, Isaac. You're working so hard. Thanks to Isaac's unwavering efforts and the pressure from the striking craftsmen, the Lord finally caves in. He releases you and agrees to stop enforcing the statute of laborers. When you step out of the castle, you see Isaac standing not far away. As soon as he catches sight of you, he runs over and hugs you tightly. Marcus, you're back. You hug him back, feeling his body tremble with relief and whisper, "I'm home. I'm sorry I worried you." This struggle teaches you a valuable lesson. Workers' rights must be fought for, and solidarity and friendship are the greatest weapons against injustice. After the plague, the common people's economic situation improves. With the money you earn, you buy Isaac a decent woolen coat and treat yourself to a new linen tunic. But to maintain the feudal hierarchy, the nobles introduce sumptuary laws, banning commoners from wearing expensive fabrics like silk and fur. This is ridiculous. You snarl, staring at the proclamation. We earn our money with honest labor. Why can't we wear what we want? Isaac pats you on the shoulder, his voice calm and steady. They're just using clothing to reinforce the class system. They're afraid we'll challenge their power. You don't openly defy the law, but the resentment in your heart grows stronger. You forge silk, patterned decorations for your blacksmith shop sign, and carve fur motifs into the ironware you make. Isaac embroiders simple silk patterns on the covers of his scrolls, a silent act of protest. It warms your heart to see commoners secretly buying imported fabrics, and the nobles powerless to stop this trend. Social change is already underway, and no law can turn back the tide. On the wall of the town church cemetery, an artist paints a bizarre mural, The Dance of Death. In the painting, rows of skeletons lead people from every social class in a dance. Kings, nobles, commoners, beggars, no one is spared. You and Isaac often come here, standing in front of the mural in silence for long stretches of time. No matter how rich or powerful you are in life, death comes for everyone in the end. You say softly, thinking of all the people who died in the plague and the sacrifices made on the road to freedom. Isaac nods, taking your hand in his. But while we're alive, we can choose how to live and how to treat others. You turn to look at him, the sunlight softening his features. You think of his perseverance during the plague, his companionship on the run, his support during the fight against the nobles. This friendship, tested by life and death, is unbreakable. You're right, you say, squeezing his hand tightly. We'll live well, cherishing every day we have together. The plague not only reshapes the social structure, but also changes people's religious beliefs. Your mother still splurges on indulgences, convinced they will send her soul to heaven. Some villagers drift away from the church, turning to personalized mysticism instead. Isaac also struggles with his faith. He once questioned God because of what his people endured. But with your companionship and his own reflections, he comes to understand the true meaning of faith. It is not blind prayer, but the courage to uphold kindness and justice. You keep your distance from religion, placing more trust in your own hands, in the value of labor, and in the power of friendship. I don't need prayers to redeem myself. You tell Isaac, I just need to be true to myself, protect the people I care about, and do what I think is right. Isaac looks at you, his eyes filled with admiration. Me too. I used to think that knowledge from scrolls could solve everything. But after everything we've been through, I realized that beyond knowledge, there is kindness, courage, and friendship. As the days pass, your blacksmith shop thrives, and you earn a substantial fortune. Unlike other wealthy men who squander their money on luxury, you use your wealth to support passing artists and scholars. Isaac shares his medical notes and collection of scrolls with them, promoting the theory of contagious diseases and collaborating with scholars to translate Eastern medical texts. You watch as art styles shift from mourning death to celebrating life. Works themed around vanitas emerge, emphasizing the brevity and preciousness of life. The ironware you forge begins to feature patterns inspired by ancient Greek and Roman art. Isaac works with scholars to develop new medical methods, experimenting with more scientific ways to treat diseases. On a day, an artist visits your shop. He admires the ironware you've made, exclaiming, "Your craftsmanship is exquisite. These patterns are full of life." You smile, gesturing to Isaac beside you. I owe it all to him. He opened my eyes to a whole new world. Isaac looks at you, his eyes crinkling with laughter, and pats you on the shoulder. We are each other's light. As the sun sets, golden rays flood the blacksmith shop. The furnace fire crackles steadily, and the hiss of cooling iron is the familiar melody of your life. You and Isaac stand side by side at the door, watching the town slowly come back to life. Watching the smiles return to people's faces, your hearts filled with emotion. The Black Death brought unspeakable suffering and death, but it also shattered the old feudal and religious chains, clearing the way for the birth of new ideas. You and Isaac, two people from vastly different backgrounds, and with vastly different personalities, supported each other through disaster, clung to your friendship in hardship, and grew together in a time of great change. You reach out and take Isaac's hand in yours. His fingers are still slender, but they are filled with strength. You exchange a smile, your eyes brimming with understanding and warmth. The disaster did not break you. Instead, it forged your friendship into something stronger and made your lives more meaningful. Amidst the ruins, you witness rebirth and the dawn of a new era. Your friendship, like a beam of light in the darkness, illuminates each other's lives, leaving the warmest and most resilient mark on this chapter of history.